We're going to take a look in this video at a little bit of a review of ratio and proportion. A ratio is just really, or a proportion is really just comparing one thing to another. It can be written as a fraction, or sometimes it's written this way. And this moves a ratio of 2 to 5, same as a fraction of 2 to 5 or 2/5. So to introduce this concept, let's say we have two ingredients that must be in a ratio of 2 to 5, or a proportion of two parts to 5 parts. Don't all mean the same thing. Let's say we're making a very simple, let's say salad dressing. And let's say we have oil and vinegar. So let's say we have 2 parts vinegar, 2 parts vinegar and 5 parts oil. And this is what the recipe calls for. Well, let's say you're making enough dressing and let's say you need 6 tablespoons. Let's say you made 6 tablespoons of vinegar. How much? What do we need? And so we can sort of set it up like this. We know that it's 2 to 5. It's 2 parts vinegar to 5 parts oil. So this side of the ratio, or the proportion, is the vinegar. And now we know that we need to say, okay, now we need 6 tablespoons. And so how much oil then do we need if we need 6 tablespoons of vinegar? And you should be able to see here that if we always write the vinegar first and the oil second, then how do we get 2 to become 6? And it should be clear for you that you're going to multiply by 3. If you multiply 2 by 3, then you get 6. And so the whole idea with ratio and proportion is they've got to be the same. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that in a moment. So if we have to multiply 2 by 3 to get 6, then in order to see what this value is, we're going to have to multiply the 5 by 3 as well. And 3 times 5 is 50. So if we're making salad dressing that requires 6 tablespoons of vinegar, then we will need 15 tablespoons of oil. And you can see if we write these as fractions that 2/5 equals 6 over something. And we could use our solving equations too to figure out easily that the question mark here, the unknown here, is going to be equal to 15. And another way of looking at that is that 2/5 is equal to 6 over 15. And those are equivalent fractions. Because when multiply by 3 by the numerator, we get 6. And multiplying the denominator by 3, we get 15. So that gives you an introduction to ratios. Let's look at something else. And if we're going to solve, if we're going to solve something like this, 3 to 4 is the same as something to 12. Well, now we're going to do the same thing, except for we're now going to look at how does 4 turn into 12. And 4 turns into 12. And because these are ratios and proportions, you're always multiplying or dividing. So 4 turns into 12 by multiplying by 3. So we would have to multiply 3 by 3 to figure out what this unknown is. And the unknown then is definitely here going to be equal to 9. And one more example just to show you that ratios can be used and proportions can be used in scaling and in diagrams. But let's take a look at these two triangles that are not drawn for scale. And let's say we have a side of 2 and a side of 8. And I'll omit units here just to make it a little bit easier. And let's say we have a second triangle that has this side is 5 and this side is unknown. And if I tell you that these triangles are proportional, if I tell you that triangle 1 is proportional to triangle 2, then that means we have that 2 to 8 is going to be equal to, and this is a vertical side here, the 2 correspond to 5, so 2 to 8 is equal to 5 to what? And we can represent it also here as a fraction, this being the numerator, and the second thing in the ratio is the denominator. So we can also have this, which is 2 divided by 8 is equal to 5 divided by some unknown. And if you viewed the videos solving equations 1 and solving equations 2, you can see that we solved these in solving equations 2. Really what we have here, and it looked like this. We just used the variable x. And our method for solving here was to cross multiply. Bottom of the top. And so then, this multiplication, we get 2 times x is equal to, and this multiplication gives us 5 times 8. And so we have here 2x is equal to, and 5 times 8 is 40. So 2x is equal to 40, and now we have to use our solving equations to get the x by itself. We divide both equations by 2. The 2's cancel, and here we're left with x equals, and 40 over 2 is equal to 20. So if these two triangles are proportional to one another, it means that their ratios have to be written like this, and it means that 2, and this is said now, if we're going to say, we could say 2 to 8 is the same as 5 to 1. And I just want to point out here that had we done it the opposite way, and as long as you keep the numbers together, as long as we keep 8 and the question mark together, we could have said 8 to 2 is the same as question mark to 5. So as long as the first thing written are the parts that are corresponding here, solving that ratio will still give us that the value of the unknown is 20. So that should give you an idea of, and a little refresher on, ratio and proportion and how they work.